Young Junk.
Welcome to the Michelle Mission. 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Triple.
And here, the second week of Women's History Month, Black Women's History Month here on the Michelle Mission, we will be spending some time with the directorial debut of Raven Jackson's All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, written and directed by Jackson, a lyrical, decade-spanning exploration of a black woman's life in Mississippi, the choice of Lynn Webb. But before we get to the dirt roads, Lynn, how are you this evening?
I'm fine. Vincent, how are you doing?
Good, chilling. Enjoying the weather.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It's beautiful weather here in Philadelphia.
Yes, it is.
I think it's like 70 degrees.
It is.
And hopefully you are enjoying some good weather and good vibrations wherever you are. We are streaming live from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to Instagram, to Facebook, as well as to YouTube, where each and every one of you missionaries are out there in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Unfortunately, again, the Vincent and I come to the Michelle Mission with heavy hearts. On the day that we recorded last week, March 4th, the world lost the great musician Roy Ayers.
Yeah.
Passed away. I'm not even sure like exactly what the reasons or the story what's behind his passing, but just an amazing performer. Everyone loves the sunshine.
Yeah.
Even and I know you as a huge jazz head, Vincent.
Right. Jazz head, but also just that jazz soul funk pocket of the 70s is Roy Ayers was sort of one of the foundational pieces of that. As you said, everybody loves the sunshine, but just a real loss. I'm sad I never got to see him live.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. He was born in 1940, passed in 2025. So, I mean, he was, he lived an exceptional.
He was actually older than I thought he was.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I think it's because his energy was always, felt like he was like.
That's exactly
younger,
it. That's exactly. Well, it's funny talking about, I never saw him live. Ali Shaheed Muhammad and Adrian Young, who Ali Shaheed Muhammad most famously of A Tribe Called Quest, and then the musician Adrian Young, that for the Michelle Mission, we know him from the Black Dynamite soundtrack, but he sort of made this career out of period-specific music.
Yeah.
The two of them have a project called Jazz is Dead. And Roy Ayers was working with them, and then Roy Ayers was touring on his own. The funny thing is, the last person I know that saw him live was my niece.
Oh, wow.
So, he was definitely super vibrant and part of the world. So it does seem like he was a much younger man.
Much younger, vital guy.
Yeah.
Man. But an amazing performer in the world is that lesser for his loss, but our condolences to his family as well as all his family and friends as we remember Roy Ayers. And we also, wow.
I know.
Oh, my God.
I know.
We lost someone else recently, ladies and gentlemen, Dwayne Wiggins, yeah. Dwayne Wiggins, one of the lead vocals and guitarists of the 90s group Tony Tone.
Yeah.
Lost his battle with cancer recently and passed away. Another heartfelt loss. If you are a fan of Tony Tone, some people may be more familiarized their sound with Raphael Sadiq, who was kind of like their lead. But Dwayne, he sang lead on a few of their on more than a few of their songs. He did. That's another name that gets lost. I think it's because Tony Excuse me.
It's that accent on the E that throws you.
Right. They are definitely were like a moment in time.
They were
in music, right? Whereas, from there you had Raphael Sadiq, who became parts of other things and continued on solo. So he is probably more of a
Speaking of Ali Shaheed Muhammad,
right?
He was in Lucy Pearl,
more vital part of R&B right now. But Tony, they were Tony. Sorry,
it's the apostrophe over that last E.
Well, hey, I haven't been in the practice of saying their name for a minute, they were definitely of that moment in time and around that kind of like that new jack type of vibe. And they also did like a little bit of like that R&B jazz type of vibe.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. They were like one of the last, I always think about them in mint condition. Like they were the last bands.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Like they were bands.
Yeah, because kind of like the band now is the Roots.
Right, and the Roots have a hip hop background. So you think about them, but like just like you said, it was that sort of post Jodeci boy group, and then the heavy production with the singers. Yeah. But there weren't a lot of bands. And Tony was a band.
Yeah, they were. And also, I think for the time in which they came up, they were men. So sometimes it felt like music didn't know where to categorize them sometimes because they were coming up in the times of Jodeci and Boys to Men, these kind of like boy groups. But like, no, we're men. You know what I mean? Like, hold up,
Boy, that is so true. I was listening to like the OJs the other day, and they just always sound like grown ass men. Like you realize you're like 20 years older than the OJs and Teddy Pendergrass were when they made, but they still sound like grown men.
They still sound older than you.
Right. Right. Just grizzled old men of 32 years old.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And Tony, they ran into that, another group that ran into that same issue was After Seven. Because After Seven, they were men.
Right.
They're like, they want to, we're going to put you on tour with BBD. It's like,
right.
No, that's fine.
It's like, ooh, they seem like they have a mortgage.
Pulling up in driveways.
Right. Right.
Right. They got different problems.
Like they can't hang out because they got to go to a PTA meeting later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think they ever argued over like every one of us needs to get a tour bus like New Edition did.
Right.
Yeah. So our condolences to Dwayne Wiggins and his
absolutely.
As well. Like, I mean, can we like just
move
into 2025 now, man? Can we just settle?
I really need everybody to chill.
Right?
Like everybody be real still, no sudden moves, and be cool. Everybody be cool.
Yeah. And somebody go lay eyes on Stevie Wonder.
You don't say it out loud.
Oh.
I think we're all thinking it.
Okay.
But you don't say it. All right. But it's a few of them. You don't say it out loud, but you just sort of keep your eye on them. And,
well, yeah.
All right. But yes.
All right.
All right.
All right. Let's get into the show, which means we're going to hear from you, the missionaries, or as we like to call it,
missives from the missionaries. So what else is going on, Lynn?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. 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 Missives from the missionaries.
Missives from the missionaries, Vincent. We have an email from Brittany 4.
Hey, Brittany.
What's up, Len and Vincent? It's Brittany, a.k.a. Down to Mars Girl.
Okay.
I've seen her. Longtime listener, but first-time missive contributor.
All right.
The Waiting to Exhale episode brought me here. For starters, the bit about only murders in the building had me crying, laughing. The show is very white, but I'll admit it is a guilty pleasure of mine, and I've watched all 4 seasons. As a zillennial, I'll admit Selena Gomez got me in the door, but I stayed for the hijinks of Steve Martin and Martin Short and all of the other legendary guest stars.
Sure.
I like the fact that they aren't taking themselves too seriously. Often they are making fun of the premise and genre of the show and the procedural television making process. And if that still doesn't make you want to give the show a chance, Divine Joy Randolph has a recurring role on there, and she's hilarious. That's true. She is hilarious on that show.
Look, love her.
I have checked that out. Next, I like the analogy Vincent used when describing the film as an album. I've always felt like Waiting to Exhale is like one long R&B interlude. Pursuing this point further, I also love the discussion of the male supporting cast. All of their performances were chef's kiss. Put Macaulay Williamson in all of the things. He's always been a favorite of mine, along with Bokeem Woodbine, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, and Carl Lumbly. They are my top 5 actors that are in everything, but are somehow still Black famous. Not saying there is anything wrong with being Black famous, but like they should be A-listers, but that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Who are some other Black actors, actresses that you feel that way about? Before you answer that,
Okay.
if you read this far, thank you for all that you guys have done and continue to do in the podcast space. Your voice is needed and much appreciated. Thank you in advance, Brittany.
Oh, thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. It's interesting as she was naming those actors, Bokeem Woodbine, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Carl Lumbly. Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, that's a deep cut for a top 5.
That's a pretty deep cut.
That's a real deep cut.
Yeah.
The first person that came to my mind was Wendell Pierce. Wendell Pierce is someone who I think should be A-list, but is Black famous. But I think he's Black famous in this way. I think tons of people know him.
I was about to say, I don't think he's Black famous. I think he's famous.
You do?
Between The Wire and Elsbeth? Yeah, I don't know how much Wendell Pierce can go into the
Piggly Wiggly.
the mainline Trader Joe's. The mainline Whole Foods.
I don't know. I think he's more Black famous. And
What's
even
he Black famous for?
with The Wire.
Oh, wait, nobody is Black famous from The Wire. Everybody is white famous on The Wire.
Well, okay. Then Treme or
3 people watch Treme.
look,
I 100% disagree with you about Wendell Pierce.
well, newsflash, you disagree with me.
No, but I 100% disagree with you.
I don't-
Usually it's about 60.
Okay, so you're 100. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
You know who's Black famous?
Who?
Lorenz Tate.
No, I don't think Lorenz Tate is Black famous.
There's not a white person in America that knows who Lorenz Tate is.
I disagree.
Why?
Because of Rescue Me. He was on Rescue Me for about good 5 years, and Rescue Me was a hit.
Okay, I'll go
And I
for
think
it.
there's a lot of people that know him from.
Do you think more white people watch Rescue Me than The Wire?
More white people watch Rescue Me than The Wire? Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go with you on this. But
Yes. I mean, Rescue Me lasted like eight
I know it was on. I'm just talking about the cultural footprint that it's left.
Okay. Look, I think that he's more. I wouldn't call him Black famous. I think he's famous. If
Okay.
you think Wendell Pierce is famous, I think Lorenz Tate is famous. Like, okay, like I'll give you Black famous.
Alan Payne.
Alan Payne is Black famous.
Alan Payne is definitely
He's
Black famous.
definitely Black famous. I was trying to think of an actress.
Actresses.
Oh,
What's her name? You were saying Tyler Perry. With the voice, it's actually twins.
now I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh my goodness, what is her name? What is her name? She was she was married to Michael J. White in Why Did I Get Married? You know exactly who I'm talking about. I just forget her name.
I have absolutely zero idea of who you're talking about, Vincent.
Okay, another actress that's Black famous.
I was going to say Now you made me forget. What is her name? Denise Nicholas is black famous. I mean, I'm digging in the crates, admittedly.
I was about to say,
but I think she was definitely
group.
She was
in her heyday. She was probably
she was
black famous. So
she was black famous.
she was black famous.
If you want to think now,
Right, like right now,
currently,
yeah. I think up until about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Morris Chestnut was black famous.
About 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's sort of.
No,
I think because he was on a lawyer show and now he's on Watson. Like it's a whole lot of who's that? It's like that's Morris Chestnut.
He's been around here for a minute.
Hey.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Kind of like Giancarlo Esposito was black famous before Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I don't know, because Giancarlo's got like such a specific look. I feel like people did know him.
From what?
I feel like he was
Right, like I always go to from what? Like we know these actors from these very kind of deeply cultural artifacts. And then when they go out into the wider world, you know, they're a guest spot here and there. Like you're telling me Lorenz Tate was on Rescue Me. And admittedly, I didn't watch Rescue Me at all. I just sort of saw the commercials. But I found out at this exact second he was on
Lorenz Tate
was he a star? Was he in the cast?
Yeah.
Would he play the black guy?
Pretty much.
Right, he played the black. Right, he played the black. Right, I knew he played like in the cast photo that FX would do.
No.
He was over on the side.
No, he had like a
was he a fireman?
Yeah, he was a prominent member of the cast, but he was like the one.
He was like the one black guy.
The one black guy.
Did he have like a wife?
He did.
Was she black?
No.
So I'm gonna go along with you with
this. She was the Lee's daughter.
I'm gonna go along with you with this Lorenz Tate thing. If Lorenz Tate walks into the supermarket in East Mount area, he gonna cause a riot.
Yes.
If Lorenz Tate goes to Chestnut Hill, and yes, I know a lot of y'all aren't from Philly, but you can use context clues. I feel like he can go to the farmer's market in Chestnut Hill and sort of be all right.
Robert Monroe Jr. reminded me that Giancarlo was on.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching it now.
Homicide Life on the Streets.
Them last 2 seasons that nobody watched.
Okay, they weren't the good seasons.
No.
But he was on there.
No one watched them.
Okay, but he was on there.
Yeah, he was on there.
He was on there. So more white people watched Homicide than black people. They did. They did. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got the last season. So, all right. Thank you, Brittany, for the email.
Yes. I am fascinated by that. Like, I am fascinated by black famous. You know, that's like my goal.
You know who I was going to say?
Like, my goal is to be black famous.
You know,
but like I can still like go places. And
you know who I was going to say is black famous actress?
Tasha Smith is who I was trying to pull, by the way.
Okay.
Definitely black famous. Definitely can go to the farmer's market in Chestnut Hill.
What about Danielle Detweiler?
I don't know if she's black famous.
Yeah. Well, but I feel like black people know her face.
From where?
Because what I was going to say about Wendell Pierce is that I think people recognize Wendell Pierce. I don't know how many black people would know, his name. Like, his name comes to him real quick. And I think Danielle is reaching that point.
From where? Like, I think she's like just a working actress. Like, when I think black famous again, like you go to Essence Superfest and cause a stir.
Yeah.
But
you don't think she would?
Then you can go again to a farmer's market in upper middle class white neighborhood du jour and kind of do your thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna keep it moving.
All right.
We got an email from Court.
Hey, Court.
About our Waiting to Exhale review. Good afternoon, Len, Vincent, and missionaries. To start off, I want to send my condolences to both the soul legend Roy Ayers and Dwayne Wiggins of Tony.
Yeah.
It has been a rough 2 weeks for black soul artists, from Roberta Flack to Angie Stone and now Roy Ayers. Let me go ahead and blast Everybody Loves the Sunshine and the Coffee soundtrack, Coffee is the Color.
That's right.
I recently listened to your episode of Waiting to Exhale, and I must say it was a great episode. I do have a couple of fun facts.
Okay.
Angela Bassett was originally going to play Savannah. The entire monologue where Bernadine burns down John's entire wardrobe and closet was all improvised, which...
Wow.
I kind of knew that, and I could kind of tell in a little bit. Robin Givens and Halle Berry both auditioned for the role of Robin Stokes, but according to Forrest Whitaker, he wanted an underdog, an actor he felt wasn't a household name yet, like Angela and Whitney, right?
I actually knew that, yeah.
Yeah. And the last fun fact was that the car scene where Bernadine was driving the car and the radio came on playing Roberta Flack, that was not in the script. An actual radio was playing and their reactions were real. That scene hits different now due to the recent passing of Roberta Flack. How about that?
You know what? I didn't know that. And I did think that was a random musical choice.
They're saying it wasn't a random musical choice.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when I heard it, I was like, that's weird. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for reviewing this classic movie. You guys were insightful.
Oh.
Have a great rest of the week. Court.
Thank you, Court.
We very appreciate it. Thank you for that email. We got another email, Vincent. This one is from Michael Sykes.
What's up, Michael?
Hey, Len and Vincent. I remember on your recent episode of the show Mission Hoodlum, y'all talked about the last top 5 movie reviews that y'all would ever do, like Meteor Man, Mandingo, Hotel Rwanda, if there's no more black movies to review. Good news, y'all will not have to review them movies due to there are a lot of black filmmakers that are still making movies.
It's true.
As long as Tyler Perry is making movies, y'all good. So there's nothing to worry about. There's still a lot of movies, old and new. Y'all haven't reviewed, like Nickel Boys, Judas and the Black Messiah, Hard Truths, The Players Club, Hustle and Flow, The Fire Inside, Exhibiting Forgiveness, True to the Game, Parts 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
One of Them Days, Gang Related, and 15,000 more.
Right.
Don't worry, this show is in for a long run, so don't worry, be happy. Forever your loyal fan, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Although I don't believe that the True to the Game trilogy was in theaters. I don't know if they were Tubi originals, but that's where I saw them. Like over the holidays, my cousin made us sit down and watch True to the Game 1, 2, and 3.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like I've seen all 3 True to the Game.
How was it? How was the experience?
They were Tubi films, and I don't even know if there was alcohol involved. It should have been alcohol involved. I mean, look, I think there's a place for the Tubi film.
Okay.
So
you enjoyed the experience?
I did enjoy the experience. Right. Yeah.
I'll have to check these out.
Oh, slow down.
Oh, no?
Yeah, you're not going to be pissed at me. I know how this works. I did not say, Lynn, go watch them.
Okay.
All right.
So I won't. All right, we got an email from Miss Monica Brooks.
Hey, Monica.
Greetings. I hope you're all having a wonderful day and finding ways to enjoy revolutionary rest.
I know that's right.
I wanted to get back to you about Rick James' opinion of Buffalo. With a culture more like Detroit.
Well, you never know.
New York City. Buffalo was pretty much an industry town with factories ranging from Chrysler to Oneida Silverware to Fisher-Price Toys.
Okay.
It was also mostly segregated by black in the East, Polish, and Irish. That being the case, it makes sense that a creative as eclectic as Rick James caught the next thing out of town, went AWOL from the military, and ended up in Canada in a band with Neil Young. The people of Buffalo are good, and my grandfather spoke about the jazz culture a lot. What I really wanted to discuss was a possible Regina King, Coleman Domingo movie. Now,
I hope y'all make this
Vincent,
thing happen.
Hear me out.
I hope y'all make this thing happen. I honestly do. Go ahead.
How about a remake of Uptown Saturday Night with Coleman Domingo and Sterling K. Brown and Regina King and Ryan Michelle Bath playing the wives? Then we could have a showcase of wonderful black character actors in the other colorful roles, such as Jill Scott as Madame Zenobia and Tiana Taylor as Leggy Peggy, for example. I know it's a stretch, but why not? I'm from Buffalo. I have had faith in more far-fetched things like the Bills.
Sure.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Monica,
Yeah.
who writes us, even though she's from Buffalo, from Oakland, California.
Yeah. I think that is the grail of Black Hollywood. Like every couple of years,
They talk about
you get we're going to remake Uptown Saturday Night. And we talked about it previously, Fight Night.
It's kind of like
Fight Night is very loose. The story of the screenwriter of Uptown Saturday Night based that storyline on the actual robbery that happened that then became Fight Night. So, I think that's always floating around. Look.
Is that too rich, Vincent? Sterling K. Brown and Coleman Domingo and the Bill Cosby Sidney Poitier roles?
Here's the thing. I think Sterling K. Brown is hilarious.
Yes.
So I think Sterling K. Brown in a comedy it just works anyway. I'm trying to have I seen Coleman Domingo be funny? I
can't think of.
I guess he could play the Sidney Poitier role, which was more of the straight man role. Yeah.
So?
Yeah, that sure.
So you're signing off on that?
I'm signing off on that. And then,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Right. Look, sure. Make it happen.
Okay.
All right.
I want to save this email for last.
Okay.
There is an email from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Good evening, Len, Vince, my fellow missionaries. You two have been putting in that good work recently. Not that you aren't always bringing your A game, but it's clear you've stepped things up again.
Okay.
Len, was it a tough decision killing off the top 5? No. Waiting to Exhale is a gem. Is the best thing Forrest Whitaker directed, in my opinion, that includes the Jagged Edge goodbye video. Man.
I learned so much from the missionary.
When they dig deep, man, they dig deep. All the performers did an admirable job, but in my opinion, none more so than Loretta Devine and Gregory Hines. Although everything revolves around Angela Bassett and Whitney, the supporting roles stole the show for me.
Okay.
On my time travels, I landed first with you two gentlemen and the double Ds, Denise and Denise, on another gem, The Color Purple. Oh, that was a fun episode.
Yeah.
This is a seminal moment in Black film. There are few times when such a powerful piece of literature gets brought to life with this much fanfare, talent, and surpasses its source material. As I was digging into the machinations of the film and how it got to be that Oprah was obsessed with the book and the Sophia character before she was Oprah, Quincy Jones apparently saw her local Chicago show while he was in the Chi, met Oprah, and then opened the doors for her with Steven Spielberg so that she could audition and get the role. Serendipitous as it was, the best thing she's ever done other than Greenleaf.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Because when he said the best thing she's ever done, in my mind, I said, yeah, I liked her better in Greenleaf. And then he said it.
There you go. I then, unfortunately, landed on The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. This movie is pretty bad. The 3 actors are almost caricatures of what post-apocalyptic people would look and act like. But it was the 50s, so did we actually expect more? Harry Belafonte, I believe, did his best with his skills in this race thought experiment. It was, again, the 50s. No black man was going to fully express himself then. Hell, we rarely get away with fully expressing ourselves now. On a completely different note, I am reading and loving Philadelphia.
Okay.
I love me some Rodney Barnes.
Oh, my
This
goodness.
story could easily be adapted into a live action or animated show. All the best, Michael.
Oh, well, we'll start there. Yeah, Rodney Barnes is the truth.
I know you.
Rodney Barnes is the truth, and I've said it before, Michael. If you like Philadelphia, hopefully you read his Blackula graphic novel, which at some point connects to Philadelphia. Yeah, and he's actually on my list of wish guests Like, I feel like we're always, speaking of bits, a couple of degrees away from people.
That's true.
So, put the word out that we are fans of Rodney Barnes.
We'll see if we can grab hold of him. And we got one last email.
Okay.
This is from George Cremona.
Hey, George.
Greetings, Lynn and missionaries. I've been meaning to drop a line to add to the wish list SNL alum Shashir Zamata as Jennifer Kale in Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
But the more important, I feel like as missionaries, we should pick up the flag of top 5 to help out. So here's mine. The top 5 reasons Len and Vincent should go on The Amazing Race.
Oh boy!
Now you know of the show, The Amazing Race.
I'm familiar.
It's teams of 2.
Yes,
that go on amazing races.
Right, it's right there in the name.
All over the country, all over the world.
Yeah,
actually.
sure.
Number 5.
Number 5.
It's The Amazing Race. Beyond the game, you guys get to travel to some funky spots and maybe make new friends.
Okay, there you go.
Very good.
There you go. Sure. New friends.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Promote the Michaud Mission brand. Imagine racing around the world wearing Derville Martin t-shirts, educating folks about black cinema.
Sure. Okay. All right. So far, so good.
That's 2 good reasons.
All right. That's a good reason. All right.
Number 3.
Okay. Number 3.
I, George Cremona, already yell at my computer at work, so yelling at the TV is a natural extension of you guys chopping it up between destinations.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Maybe,
all right.
Watch all that yelling out loud, George. This is not really the time. This administration frowns upon.
Number 2. It's $1 million. Hell, even if you don't win but place first in a few legs, you can win some cash or a White Lotus type vacation.
Okay. All right.
And George Cremona's number 1 reason that Len and Vincent should go on The Amazing Race.
Okay.
Len ain't getting any younger.
Damn. Wait a minute. Is somebody getting younger?
Well, we know it's not me.
Like, if we're keeping a list of people not getting younger, which I assumed everybody was on the list, but apparently it's a different list.
Yes.
With you.
Yes.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, thank you, George. And it's been a pleasure having you as one of the missionaries all these many years.
All these many years.
So sorry to see you go.
So glad we had this time together. Which is a reference that you would get.
Yes.
Because you're old.
Because I'm old.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't help matters that I was actually watching Carol Burnett reruns today.
Really? Really?
I was.
I'm going to act a little nonchalant and act like I'm not intensely curious about where these reruns are.
Me TV.
Me TV. There you go.
Boy, you are old. Watching Tubi and Me TV.
Look, man. Look. It's better than the alternative.
True. All right. Well, that's
All
our
right.
emails. If
All
you want to
right.
have your thoughts heard here on the Michaud Mission, don't be George Cremona. You can send us emails.
You can too, George. Send them to me.
Yeah. You do that. Yeah. But the rest of you, send us your emails at michaudmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUX MISSION@gmail.com. All right.
All right.
And now it's time for the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
Or, as we call it, 6 Degrees of Derville Martin.
All right.
Six Degrees of Derville Martin, where I give Vincent 2 actors, and he has 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin.
D'Urville Martin.
A man who can send us emails all day.
All day.
Unlike George Camon.
Well, there you go.
Keeping it in theme, Vincent.
Keeping it in theme.
We are going to be reviewing All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt.
Yes.
The film debut, the feature film debut of writer-director Raven Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So what I present to you are two actors who, some people say, are a little salty.
All right. Cranky actors.
Yes.
These are some of my favorite kind of actors.
Starting with number one.
Okay.
In 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase. World-renowned dickhead. Yeah. Does anyone like Chevy Chase?
No.
Yeah.
There's not a person.
Right.
No. Perhaps his wife.
I mean, professionally.
Well, isn't she? I think she's.
I mean, I don't know.
She's there for the check.
I don't know who. Oh, okay. Easy. Yeah, I don't know who he's married to, but okay, yeah. All right, so Chevy Chase. You know, I'm trying not to go right to Caddyshack. Because quite honestly, I don't remember who was in Fletch. And I enjoyed Fletch. I know you and I differ on it. Because you didn't like Fletch, right? You don't like Fletch?
No.
Yeah, and I like Fletch. So, you know.
I like the new Fletch with John Hamm.
Oh, yes. But I like the Chevy Chase. So, you know, it was always so weird to me that he was the first famous, like he was the breakout.
That's because he quit first.
Right. No, I think.
No, he quit after.
No, I know he quit first, but I think the lore was he was the breakout.
Well,
like
yeah.
when they talk about, all right, so, okay. So I don't want to get to Caddyshack.
Choose another Chevy Chase movie.
That's what I'm saying. Besides Caddyshack and Fletch, okay, a Vacation, maybe.
You got the Vacation movies.
The Vacation movie. Oh, come on. Okay, let's see if I could use Vacation.
It's another big one, but I don't want to give it to you.
Because I'm not a big Chevy Chase fan. Let me see if I can use Vacation. Okay.
Do you know the other actors?
Mm-hmm. I know the one that I would use. So D'Urville Martin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to start cheap, but then I'll get interesting. So D'Urville Martin is, of course, in Five on the Black Hand side with Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is in Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., but Robert Downey Jr. is in Weird Science.
Yes.
With Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay.
And then Anthony Michael Hall is in the first.
Oh yeah.
The first National Lampoon's Vacation.
That's
with
right.
Chevy Chase.
I forgot he's the son. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
So there you go. I was trying to get to Anthony Michael Hall, and not do like 16 Candles or The Breakfast Club.
No, it's very good.
So
very good.
Right.
The other big one I was thinking of was Three Amigos.
Of course, the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
I am such a non-fan of Chevy Chase, and this has happened before on this show. I always forget he's the third amigo.
I know.
I always forget he's the third amigo.
I love that movie in spite of him being in there.
We were joking about Only Murders in Buildings. I love Steve Martin in Martin Short because of the Three Amigos.
Yep.
I always forget he's the third amigo.
Yep. And every time I'm watching it, I'm wondering, are they getting along with him on the, like, behind the scenes?
Yeah.
And I haven't heard any stories, so I don't know.
I've never heard anyone say they got along with him. That's what I'm saying.
I've never heard no one.
Right.
There's not a person.
Right. Famously, he and Bill Murray got into a fist fight. At least one.
Yeah.
On Saturday Night Live. So like from jump, he's been that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I never dug him.
Like how have you beefed with Bill Murray all the way up to Donald Glover? Like how you have that?
Yeah, at some point
that long.
At some point, you kind of turn, right? Right? You become like just the nice old dude.
Or just the quiet dude. He would do his work and then go to the trailer.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
Not with Chevy.
All right. That's a good one. All right. So who's next?
All right, next is 6 Films or Less, Connect D'Urville Martin 2.
Who else is cranky and salty?
Well, this is someone who, just reading on the internet. I don't know how true this is.
Sure. I mean, we don't know Chevy Chase. We just sort of read the stuff. So, like, he never do nothing to me.
True. In 6 Films or Less, Connect D'Urville Martin 2, Katherine Heigl.
Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, you probably only think of one movie.
I can't even. Let me see her face.
Oh, you know her.
I mean, obviously I know the name, but yeah, I don't know. Have I seen something with her in it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like I know. Like I acknowledge she is famous. Like, I'm not saying she's not famous. What I am saying is I can't think of anything where I say, ooh, that's a Katherine Heigl movie. Like, I know she seems like one of them, and I hate this term. Is she like a chick flick lady?
No, not really. I mean, she's like everyone. She's done like her fair share of those type of things, but no.
Let's move this along. What was her big one?
Her big movie?
Like, what's her thing that Vince saw and said, ooh, who's that lady? She's doing good work.
I'm going to go, did you see Knocked Up?
Yeah, I did see Knocked Up. I have no memory of her in Knocked Up.
She's
the star?
Yeah.
Right, I always think about old girl that plays her sister.
Yeah, she's like she is the female lead.
Right. So that's Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd. Mm-hmm. Old girl that I'm thinking about.
Leslie Mann.
Oh, I like that Leslie Mann. Yeah, I completely forgot she was in all right.
And then she's in let's see. Then she did. This is kind of like her chick flick, 27 Dresses, with your dude, James Marsden of Paradise fame.
Boy, that James Marsden's doing work in Paradise.
Yes, I know you love him.
He ain't doing work like Sterling K. Brown. Like, if the first thing I'm going to say about Paradise, I ain't going to start with James Marsden. But he holding his own with Sterling K. Brown.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
She was in... Let's see, what else was she in? She was in The Ugly Truth with Gerard Butler.
I swear some of these aren't actually movies.
They are.
They're just sort of AI-generated wiki entries.
She starred alongside Josh Duhamel in Life as We Know It.
You know how sometimes they have like the buildings where they say a store is coming and then they have the shot of the store and it says like Geep, and it's like jeans and stuff in it, or it's like Pizza Hut and it's people in there eating. What was it called? The Ugly Truth.
The Ugly Truth. She also starred, as I just give you all her movies. Now, okay, this is a movie to remember for 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
Okay.
Katherine Heigl stars alongside. She stars in a film from 2011, New Year's Eve. Okay.
Right.
Also in this film,
Oh, is that the movie with a bunch of people in it?
yes,
Yeah. All right.
Halle Berry,
Yeah, I was about to say
Jessica
Halle Berry.
Biel,
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
Abigail Breslin, Ludacris, Robert De Niro, Josh Duhamel, Zac Efron, Hector Elizondo, Ashton Kutcher, Seth Meyers, Lea Michele, Sarah Jessica Parker, Michelle Pfeiffer, Hilary Swank, and Sofia Vergara.
Okay.
So you may want to put that in your quiver.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to take up any of the hard drive with that.
Okay.
Well, I will say is that Derville Martin was involved on the Black Hand side with the father, the star, Leonard Jackson. So he's involved on the Black Hand side with Leonard Jackson. Leonard Jackson is, of course, in Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is in Meet Dave with Leslie Mann, who is one of three people that I remember from Knocked Up. The fourth being Katherine Hagel.
The lead.
Right, who plays pretty white lady that it's funny that Seth Rogen is with.
Who's in every scene of Knocked Up.
Yes.
But there's Leslie Mann.
Right. But
It's who you remember.
But I mean, come on, let's be real. We could have cut and pasted her with like 30 other actresses in that film. Like, I'm not saying she's not good in other films, but like in that film, you could have cut and pasted her with like, what's Goldie Hawn?
Leslie Mann.
No, not Leslie Mann. Leslie Mann plays Leslie Mann.
Okay.
But, you know.
Oh, you about to say Catherine Hudson?
Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson?
Could Kate Hudson have not played that role? That exact same role.
She could have. Probably did.
And if I cut and paste her in it, would anyone have noticed?
Probably not. Probably not.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
All right.
All right.
But she's mean?
That's the rumors. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe this is why her career is not hitting.
I mean, I think apparently she's done all right.
Well, all those movies are over 10 years old.
Right.
She hasn't done anything
And,
outside of really like voice work.
She got sponsorship from Pizza Hut. And TJI Thursdays.
Before we move on, I want to talk to you. I know you're not a big horror fan.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
But I watched a film this weekend that absolutely floored me
Okay.
and how good it was.
All right.
The Heretic with Hugh Grant.
I've heard good things about this.
Man, Hugh Grant is doing such a good job in this film. Now, all right, I don't know if you know the premise. The premise is Hugh Grant there's these two young girls who are Mormons and they're going house to house, and they've got at one time someone stopped off at Hugh Grant's house and left some information, and he has said, "Oh, sure, I would love to talk to somebody about this." So these two young girls, are tasked to go and talk to him about the
Mormonism.
And he welcomes them in, and the second he welcomes them in, it's like mad creepy, right? But he is really talking to them about the tenets of Mormonism versus other religions.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And he's like breaking like facts down, and he's telling them like, I have found the secret to what the one true religion is. And this whole movie revolves around what is the one true religion. But as he reveals this, the movie gets decidedly creepier and creepier all along the way. And Hugh Grant is having so much fun in this movie, and yet the tension is ratchet up. You're just like, yo, like, what is going on?
What's the one true religion? Is it devil worship?
I don't want to tell you.
I'm not watching this.
It's not scary. It's suspenseful. You like suspense.
I do.
I think I would.
Is it the devil?
No, it's not the devil. I'll tell you that.
Is it Scientology?
No.
So. Not Scientology.
It's not Scientology. I want you to
Are they
watch
Episcopals?
That's the last one you get. That's 3 strikes, you're out.
Is it not, he's not,
It's not that easy.
he doesn't convert them to become Episcopals?
No.
Okay. All right.
I want you to watch it. You should watch it.
Unitarians?
Have you seen it, Dylan? Have you seen A Heretic? Did you like it? See, Dylan liked it. Y'all two like everything together.
Are there ghosts?
Watch Heretic.
Are there puppets? Are there dead kids?
No.
Okay. All right.
Watch it.
All
Are
right.
you going to watch it?
I mean, look, at some point.
That means a no.
Look,
That means no.
I'll just tell you, it is so far, like, there's nothing that you said that made me say, oh, let me put that up on the top of the list. Like, I haven't started the Aldous Hodge, Alex Cross series. Like, I haven't started. It's so funny. We were talking about Giancarlo Esposito on Homicide. We are steadily working our way through the final season, which the final season is like 37 episodes. You know, it's like old school television season because I'm really just trying to get to the movie. But
You know, you really can't just cut straight to the movie.
I know, but you know,
will miss nothing.
You know, I'm a completist.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it's hard though, ain't it?
It's
rough. Last season of Homicide is rough.
You know what? I give NBC so much credit because they were doing the best they could to keep Homicide on.
Yeah, because they basically made it like just y'all going to film it here in this room. Like,
Ooh, it's another crossover with Law and Order. Okay, do I need to go find an old episode of Law and Order to understand this?
man, they were going to cross over with everything, man.
Yeah.
I think Jerry Seinfeld shows up.
No.
Beside.
What's the deal with dead dope boys?
Who are these doughboys? All right. That's it.
Why is it in black if you solve the murder? Seems like it would be red. It's a much more festive color. That's a joke no one understood except me, you, and my wife.
Now it's time for our review of All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. Yeah, I wonder when you were going to move.
Oh, wait, I just lost my... Give me one more second.
Mm-hmm.
All roads, do that again. All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, a lyrical decade-spanning exploration of a black woman's melancholia within the bounds of rural Mississippi. Released in 2023, directed by Raven Jackson and written by Raven Jackson in her debut, was the choice of Lynn Webb here in the second week of our celebration of Women's History Month. Lynn, I know you have a lot to say about All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt.
The first thing I want to say about this film is we've talked before about about some movies you want to experience on the big screen. This
Yes.
is meant for the
Yes.
big screen, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times when people talk about that, missionaries, they're talking about like these big sci-fi spectacles or big special effects, you know, or like the Mission Impossible movies, or, you know, every third Marvel movie or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, which, as Vince, as you said, it's basically this film that is about, you know, the loves, the heartbreaks of this one woman growing up in Mississippi. That jump cuts, but from her at a younger age to a teenager and to as an adult as we walk through her life in Mississippi. Circa, I guess it's going into like, I guess maybe it's the 1900s, but it's like the late 1900s, probably like 70s to 80s.
The 80s, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring, because there's no year that's
Right.
there. Which sounds like a very personal, very sweet, just a drama story, right? But this is a film that 100% should be experienced on the largest screen possible, if not a movie screen, because it's no longer in theaters. Because what Raven Jackson has done, more so than the writing, but with her direction and with the cinematography of Jomo Frey on this film, they have made what I have said all along since the first time I saw this movie, a poem on film. This is one of the most beautiful films that I have ever seen. And by that, I mean the scenes, because this is filmed on location. The scenes are so gorgeous. The colors so specific to the mood that they want to present. The pictures that they want to paint. This is the epitome of a motion picture, because this is a painting. This is a still painting that just happens to be moving, and moving very subtly, very intentionally. There is maybe 200 words in this entire movie. And there are scenes where people are standing with their backs to the camera so that you can just take in everything that's happening. So the mood of the moment can register with you and on you and imprint in your heart. There are intense, long, loving close-ups of hands touching one another, touching other hands, touching the dirt, touching the water, and because these scenes are allowed to just live and just be with not much, music, so you're just hearing the world. The soundscape is basically the world in which the scene is set. You can almost feel the texture of the clothes underneath the fingertips, because it's how long. When there's an incredible scene that goes from a hugging of remembrance to a hugging of regret to a hugging of loss, that all in just one long hug that is seen by the hands reaching behind someone, touching their shoulders. It is just an absolute visit. And because of that, it is an absolute visit into this woman. Mac is her name, her life, her experiences. As she grows up, we meet her at a young age fishing with her father, played by Chris Chalk, a phenomenal actor we've talked about here many times. He is in this film. The movie has 200 words. He's probably got 10 of them. like considering like he's probably the biggest name in here outside of Sheila Adam, who plays the mother, and who many people probably most commonly remember her from The Woman King. It starts with Mac at a young age, and we see her, like I said, as a teenager, and as well as for a snippet as an older woman, but for the most part, we see her as a child, played by Kaylee Nicole Johnson, who has eyes that just welcome you into this moment. A very young actress, but a powerful actress on screen, as she deals with learning how to fish. She has seemingly a loving relationship with her mother and with her sister, Josie, played by Jaya Henry. They have a loving relationship with one another. There's a great scene in the beginning where Mac is, and you often see her with her hands touching the earth, touching the dirt. And she's touching the dirt underneath the river where she was just fishing with her father. And, and the camera stays on her, just playing with the dirt, playing with the texture of the earth in her hands. And then she kind of like stirs up the dirt underneath the water, and you see the dirt stirring. And as that happens, you hear storm clouds start to break overhead. It never cuts to the storm clouds, but you can feel the storm clouds and seeing the dirt swirling in the water. It's such a beautiful, magnificent moment, especially because that water will play a part in the rest of this film as you learn about Mac's ambivalence to water, let's put it that way, because of the memories that it does evoke for her. This movie walks you through her growing up, learning how to love, a sweet moment where she learns about kissing and how to kiss that is so real, so tender, so, what I learned, authentic. I didn't know about it. You learn about regret, the life not lived. And if I'm being ambivalent about the plot, one is because there's not much plot to the film. It really is about her life. Usually films like this, like there's some like inciting incident that happens. There kind of is an inciting incident, so I don't want to give it away, but it's not much. And the movie is very sparing in how it reveals it to you. It really is just about you being in the back pocket of Mac as she is living her life. And what does that mean? What does that mean to be a black woman growing up in Mississippi at this time? And there's no like real hard lessons about, conversation about, race and being black in America, anything like that. No, this is just truly about a life lived. It is really 100% like that. And in so doing, it is an amazing piece of filmmaking. Raven Jackson has done a couple of shorts, but this is her first feature-length film. Smartly, it's about an hour and 40 minutes. So it's not long at all. There's you can see that she has a deft hand of direction and storytelling. There's a scene that's set in a church that as it pulls back, you're not sure exactly where you are in this church and why you're supposed to be there for in this church at this moment, because all you're hearing is a choir sing. But as it pulls back, you understand and reveals that you're there for the wedding of her sister. And then the camera pans over to an empty chair and then looks out a window. And from there, while the church scene seemingly is still going on in the background, time moves ahead slightly to the end of the wedding while it's still ongoing. That is like brilliant, exceptional storytelling in one moment, and then as the camera continues to pan, it lands on some roses on like I believe like on the top of a piano or something, and just locks there for a moment. And you're there for all of it. I'm there for all of it. And as beautiful a scene as this is, my one regret about this movie is that I did not see this on the big screen, because I know that on the big screen, this would be such an amazing experience. It is a quiet, intentional, thoughtful film that I fear that when you're watching it at home, it's easy to get lost because there's not a lot of dialogue to kind of like make you lift your head up. For people to get lost in scrolling or doing something like that, I think in a theater experience where you're locked and you have no choice but to engage with the movie and the story that's being told, I think that is an absolutely different experience. And I applaud Raven Jackson for in these streaming times to make such a powerful, dramatic, heartfelt, and funny film that still is necessary for the movie screens. I absolutely cannot say enough about All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt, and it immediately becomes, along with Pariah, one of the films that I will like beg people to sit. I will sit down and watch it with you. I've seen it 10 times. I don't care. I will watch this with you to make sure that you see this film and really take it in.
Yeah, I agree with every single thing that you just said. I think when we use a word like sensual, it's always connected to sexuality.
Yes.
And while certainly there are moments that are actually sexy in this film, I think when we sensual kind of appealing to the senses, so much of this film does. The sound design, as you said, it's filmed in this rural environment, Mississippi, Tennessee, and the sounds of the wind and the rain, the water in the creeks, the crickets, like all of it, you can just, because there isn't a lot of dialogue, the irony is you can pay attention to the sounds. Like it's not a lot of music. It is just sounds.
And how much that tells the story.
And how much those sounds tell the stories. Obviously, you can't touch a screen, but as you said, there's this textual, tangible feel that when the film opens, McKenzie, short for McKenzie, is learning how to clean a fish.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing shot of this fish with the fish scales, the detail of the fish scales. As you mentioned, the clothing that you see, the role that hair plays.
Oh, yeah.
Where Mackenzie always has these two braids, regardless of the point in her life where they show her that you can feel it. And then, visually, as you said, it's an absolute feast for the eyes. It made me think, before I thought it was so appropriate that when you read about this film, Barry Jenkins produced it. When it was one of the producers, because I think what I love the most about this film is Raven Jackson, much like we've talked about with Barry Jenkins, going all the way back to Medicine for Melancholy, and put a pin in that because we'll circle back to that in these films in a moment. Raven Jackson has such a love for the black body. Like the black body. As you mentioned, so much of this film focuses on hands and these beautiful, just deep, dark, brown, rich, ebony hands. Actor to actor, you see the hands, you see the nail beds of the hands. There are moments when the darkness of the hands, you see the other side that is lighter, and the people's hips, faces. I just mentioned hair. So much is done with hair in this film. So just to pull names, I was thinking about Barry Jenkins, what Barry Jenkins does in something like Moonlight. Of course, the great Julie Dash with Daughters of the Dust, where all of this just on that level is just a feast. You talked about Raven Jackson's direction. I cannot agree with you more. I thought the pacing was so confident and so attuned to what she was trying to get across, because I do think it's very easy to make a film like this and it kind of plods.
Yeah.
But I think the way it's paced, the way images are in the shot, like there's always something for you as the viewer to take in. Much like you, Jomo Frey, with Jomo Frey's cinematography is amazing. We've seen Jomo Frey before. I actually said Medicine for Melancholy, and I was mistaken. We've talked about Jomo Frey before. He was a cinematographer for Seela in the Spades.
Oh, okay.
A small film that we talked about a few years ago. And speaking of just the love that this film has for Black bodies, the way these actors are lit is remarkable. There's a scene where Mackenzie and her friend, and at some point her love interest Wood, they're teenagers. They're in the dark. Something has happened, and and Mackenzie is talking. You don't know it's Wood. You just see her talking, and it's that country dark. So it's just darkness, and you see her talking, and you hear Wood's voice, but then Wood moves, and you realize that what you've been seeing, he's leaned over.
Yeah,
and it's the top of his hair.
His afro, yeah.
And then when he leans back, you see his face, but you realize that Jomo Frey's cinematography has this unending blackness. And I gasped a little bit because, it was like, again, this combination of a director of cinematography who has this mastery of light and this direction that understands the Black body.
Yes.
So that you get this shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a shot where Mackenzie is with her father, and there's a storm on the horizon, but it's still sunny. And the two of them are in the side of the frame.
Yeah, this is after the wedding.
After the wedding, and you see the sun, and it's just shot after shot.
Yeah.
After shot. There's a moment when the teenagers are in one of these trees that you see in the country, like these huge 100-year-old trees, and it's just a still of them. And it is, and while you're right, there is no real plot. It's Mackenzie's life. You basically see her as a child, as a teenager, and as an adult.
Yeah, and real quick, shout out to Charlene McClure, who plays her from the teenager to like kind of like young adult.
Yeah.
So give her props.
Yeah, absolutely. But in some ways, I feel like what I took from the film was that there is poetry and beauty in the most ordinary of lives.
Yes.
Like, this is a very ordinary life. She has heartbreak. She has triumph. She has sadness. She has happiness. But this is a woman's life. And presenting a woman's life as something that is poetic, something that, dare I say, is almost holy, the way that Raven Jackson kind of presents her. I think that says so much about Raven Jackson's love for these people. You mentioned the church scene. And again, look, scene to scene to scene. You can talk about this in every single scene in this film. But there's a moment in the church scene where it's just it's basically a montage of the people in the church.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just shot after shot after shot of older black women in this little country church. And again, the love radiates from the screen that this film has for these people.
Yeah.
And you're right. I can't. It's an extraordinary film. I'm so glad I watched it. I will say this: it would not surprise me if we had an opportunity to see this on the big screen at some point, because this is very much a film that will endure.
I hope, yeah.
And people will talk about it, and it will be on screens.
I think it is one of those films that people will discover.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. It's interesting because I wanted to talk about...
I mean, if not for nothing, Jomo Frey is the cinematographer on Nickel Boys.
Right.
Which everyone has talked about how beautiful Nickel Boys is.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that scene with all the teenagers on like the 1,000-year-old tree.
Yeah.
Because that was the scene that I watched where I was like, oh my God, this is a motion picture. Because it's a scene, so there is some subtle movement, but not much. So it almost looks like a photo. And it was at that moment watching that, I was like, you know what? She's got a lot of Gordon Parks in her. Which really just like popped right in that moment, you know? There is watching this movie, you know, I'm pretty sure I haven't said it here, but I recently had a loss in my family and just been dealing with that for a little bit. And there is a loss that happens in this movie. And the way that it deals with it, because there's a loss, the loss that is revealed outside of the incident.
Right.
And there was something about the way that they did that she does that I felt so real to me, because in dealing with a loss, you kind of want to get to that incident.
Right.
You know, because it is only once you're there and then in the aftermath of the ceremony and the pomp and circumstance of that you really start to reconcile with your feelings.
Right.
You know? And I liked leading with like really like the end of the funeral.
Right.
And then it backtracks from there.
Right.
And I thought that was extremely thoughtful and original.
Yeah.
Way, because usually if there's a funeral, you're cutting to the rain, you're cutting to the umbrellas.
Right.
No umbrellas, no rain. It's real.
Right. I mean, speaking of that loss, this is actually the moment, and I know we've talked about this sort of physicality and even more so than the performances, but I thought Chris Chalk, as he sort of portrays a man dealing with grief.
Yeah.
Like I loved his performance.
Yeah.
In each of the part, you know, it's speaking of Moonlight's on my mind. You know, we talk about Nicole Harrison Moonlight in each of the three parts. She's the only actress in each of the three parts of Moonlight. Chris Chalk plays a similar role in this film, where he's the only actor that's in all three parts of Mackenzie's life.
Oh, that's true. That's right. You're right.
And he plays it differently in each part. And to your point, so much of his performance is informed by this incident.
Yeah.
And it's subtle, it's masterful, it's understated. And again, there's this almost holistic effect where everything, performance, sound design, cinematography, direction, script, like it all blends together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a amazing piece of filmmaking. If you haven't seen it, I'm cutting to the end.
Oh, right.
I recommend that you see All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt. Again, on the largest screen possible. Put the phone aside, it's only an hour and 40 minutes. So give yourself that time to really just sit and take in this film. It is a masterful piece of storytelling, masterful piece of direction. It is a beautiful film, beautiful acting by everyone in this movie. And I think the word you used, sensual, is very apt. A sensual experience.
Look, I'm going to keep name checking him because we've been doing this long enough. You can actually chart our conversations about. I don't know if I've felt like this with the first time director. I mean, certainly Jordan Peele. I was very excited, but we kind of knew who Jordan Peele was from Key and Peele, and he was like a dude.
Yeah.
But like, I remember watching Medicine for Melancholy the first time and saying, I don't know who Barry Jenkins is, but I am 100% keeping up with him with everything he does.
Right.
And that's how I felt watching this film.
Yeah.
Like, this is a director, this is a young director, this is somebody that, yeah.
Yeah.
I not only do I recommend this, I recommend Raven Jackson.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. We are whatever's next, there.
Yeah.
Done. Sight unseen. We are there. All right. Well, that is our review of All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt. Missionaries, before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week, I invite you to send all of your thoughts to us via email. You can email us at micheuxmission at micheauxmission@gmail.com. You can always find us on all the social medias, whether or not that be Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Micheux Mission. If you have found us on YouTube, then why don't you hit that bell and subscribe? Become one of the subscribers on the Micheux Mission YouTube channel so you can be notified of when we go live every Tuesday night or when we put up all of our videos and shorts and clips from the show on the channel. The Micheux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcast work such as ours, which is available wherever you find podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or on YouTube. The Micheux Mission is available as a podcast, an audio podcast, 2 times a week. On Tuesdays, we drop mission logs, the best of the Micheux Mission, which this past Tuesday, today, actually, we posted our review of Pity Wheatstraw. With Dorian Missick and Omar Dorsey. This is the final chapter in the Micheux Missick connection. We'll be adding new chapters as soon as the guys and Simone become available.
Speaking of which, got to get this out. Did you see Simone has a show coming on?
That's right. She has coming in
Simone Missick in April and Government Cheese on Apple.
Ooh, Government Cheese on Apple in April, starring Simone Missick.
And other people.
Simone Missick and Company. That's right. So check that out.
Absolutely.
So, we'll have
Looks fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks fun. I saw the trailer. Looks fun.
Oh, well, we've always said that she should do more comedy.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a little comedic.
It looks like she's listened to us. Well, there you go, Simone.
There you go. So
much success.
Maybe we'll get to that Coleman Domingo, Sterling K. Brown comedy y'all want so bad.
Yes. Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
Coleman Domingo, Sterling K. Brown, Regina King, and Simone Missick in Uptown Saturday Night, the remix.
Saturday Night, the remake.
I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Make it so.
Make it
Dorian,
so.
make it so.
That's right.
All right.
No, you're in charge of these things.
All right. Just all under your breath. Y'all just don't know what I deal with. All right. Next week here on the Michelle Mission. Oh, I'm sorry. The Michelle Mission also, we do this live on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. If you want to book yourself in one of the beautiful studios that they have here, then hit up our guy Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. All right. Next week here on the Michelle Mission, as we continue our exploration of Black Women's Month in the month of March, it'll be my turn to give you a film, and I am going all the way back to 2010 to a film from Ava DuVernay. That's right. It has been noted as a tearjerker, contemplative, and brooding, and yet I like it. Ava DuVernay directs I Will Follow next week here on the Michelle Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.